You voted for Trump because you thought you would get morality. But what you've landed in is cultural Christianity that does not require the saving power of Jesus. And it doesn't require America a powerful church.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a powerful church anymore. Can you hear me? It's not required anymore because you've got an emperor who is backing you. So you don't need to have the Spirit. You don't need to have the power of God. You don't need to have holiness. You don't need to have salvation through Jesus Christ because you've got the law and you've got the stamp of an imperial leader. And that is the danger of where you are right now.
Wait, is this prophet from a group of seasoned prophets that tend to promote Donald Trump suddenly claiming that too many people are worshiping him instead of the Christian teachings of God that they claim to be providing?
The emperor, the president, the Caesar, pick the poison, starts to say, this is what I think Christianity should be.
Yeah.
I'm going to use you and tell you that I'm following Jesus. And you'll want to be in my good books. You'll want proximity to me. In this day, you'll want selfies with me. You're not going to want to hold truth to power. You're not going to want to hold me to account. I am going to tell you what your faith is like. And you're going to let me be immoral. And you're going to let me not redeem money, sex, or power. You're going to follow what I say I need from you because I'm going to deceive you into cultural Christianity where what I say faith is, faith becomes.
So this prophet is breaking down how Trump's successful ploy to somehow seem Christ-like to so many supporters has resulted in enabling him to wield his version of Christianity as a tool for his lawlessness and immorality. The truth must have stung an overseeing body of prophets who, according to Right Wing Watch, released a public statement denouncing this prophet's false prophecy, they say, about Trump being dangerous. They don't want anyone to hear about how this growing gathering of Christian political preachers in America is fooling believers into equating Trump to holiness.
You now have cultural Christianity, America, with an empire and with an imperial leader. You happen to call him Donald Trump. And what he is playing with you and why he is releasing chaos is this. Oh, my days, this is rough. Is he is saying, have morality. Let's talk morality. Let's even legislate morality. And morality is dangerous if that's all you've got. Because morality does not need God. Morality is about, I'm going to force behavioral change. It's about religious behavior and it's about appearance. Because the emperor, the president, the prime minister, the state is not holy. And we could weep over this because holiness comes out of the burning fire of proximity and relationship to Jesus Christ. And cultural Christianity stumbles at the entry point into working with the Bible because it mixes up morality and holiness. And God is not interested in your morality. He's interested in your holiness.
That's right. It's kind of exactly what many people called out every time Trump would embarrass himself by holding up the Bible upside down in photo ops or telling reporters that he refused to talk about the Bible when it's obvious that he's never opened one, or his dumbfoundedness over the idea of forgiveness. All those signs were ignored while fake Christians made up stories to fool believers while they increased their bottom line.
20 minutes before he was shot in Pennsylvania, he texted me on the platform and said, I need to know if there's anything else I need to know. He meant from God to share with the people. And God had me tell him. I texted it back to him because he was texting me. I said, God said, no matter what happens today, no matter what happens, don't let fear interfere in your life. Don't let it put fear in you. You keep going forward. You're not going to die. He was told all this by God. I have your back. So no matter what it is, fear not. You're going to finish your races and you're going to win. So you have to keep going forward. And so that's why when he was shot, he wasn't afraid because he had that word from God.
This lady says she texted with Trump right before he was shot in Pennsylvania and then gave him some future information from God about how he's going to be safe. But for some reason, the prophecy group didn't release a letter rejecting her visions.
Well, here's the spiritual heat map. Right, there it is. See that? Elon Musk posted it. So if you were looking at a map of America, for you podcasters, go to my Twitter account when you get home, take a look at it. It's a vastly expanded red zone. Now, we've seen this before, the rural versus the city vote. We know that. But what does it tell you from a spiritual perspective? It tells you that principalities and powers concentrate where populations are the most concentrated. It's kind of an interesting thing how when Babel gets built and everybody's in one location, it's easier. You go to Washington, D.C., it's a spiritual environment. You go out to Hollywood, it's a spiritual environment. It's as though the spirit realm comes down upon the high concentrations of people and then gets into the institutions there as much as possible to create a blue zone.
These are just simple-minded election maps being passed off as spiritual heat maps, supposedly illustrating where the evil is concentrated versus the holiness. And you don't have to look at it very long to recognize that it's just Republican areas versus Democratic ones. These grifters don't even have to try very hard or even be aware of the anti-Christian rhetoric that they push, because it's now all about promoting MAGA in the name of Jesus.
Goliath fell, but it took the cutting off of the head, and the head of what's behind all this has not been cut off yet. We haven't fully seen what's going on, but he has fallen to the ground. That prevailing spirit of anti-Semitism, anti-God, anti-Christian has fallen. But now I believe the Lord is going to help us as we continue to pray, to believe, and do what we're supposed to do. We'll take up the enemy's sword and cut his head off.
It was the next day after the 2020 election when the devil appeared to me in that vision. And it was at 4:45, and God said, there'll be 4 more years for 45. How many remember that? Yep. And the devil appeared, and he was talking about all things he was going to do. And I saw this face of this Biden guy change 2 to 3 times. How remember that? How many have you seen 2 or 3 different versions of this guy, right? One with a big turkey gobble, and then it disappears, right? And it's out again for Thanksgiving. And he's also 6'5", and the other guy, he grows, from 6'5" to like 5'11". God said, you're to say 46 does not exist.
They've openly become regular political pundits, just with a proposed authority over what God is telling people. It gives them the power to say God said to empty out your bank accounts, or to leave your kids with creepy pastors, or to vote for a guy that obviously represents predatory behavior. The only question left is, when are these guys, now giving bad advice on cabinet picks, going to have to start paying taxes on their politically and financially driven version of religion?
I want him for Attorney General. I want him. I believe he's God's choice. And if there's some mealy-mouthed preacher out there that just got offended by what I just said, let me allay your fears. I'm going to double down. I want him. I want Matt Gaetz. I want him for Attorney General. He will clean house. And he's got enough industrial strength cleaners to do it. And we need him. Todd, go ahead.
That's right. I've met Matt Gaetz. We were down at Mar-a-Lago. I had a nice conversation with him for a short period of time. Very smart, articulate young man. Definitely is the same guy off the camera that he is on the camera. I think he's got a real heart for this country. And you know what? These are the types of lions that God is bringing in right now. And of course, he's going to have warfare.